We are back, guys. We just heard right out the press concerning Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna. That, if I'm not mistaken, we just want to lift the family up in prayer, and we're going to have a moment of silence for 5 seconds in memory of what has just taken place. God is good. Remember to keep them in your prayers. And keep the family covered, as well as the fans and the friends. Now we will continue to discuss our conversation of relationships.
Okay, so what if you had, say for instance, I'm a female and I had a friend who was a male, but I'm also married. And I had a friend I consider my best friend who was a male. How should my husband feel about us being best friends? Because at the end of the day, my husband's supposed to be my best friend. But how do you think that the opposite should feel about the situation? Is it okay to have a male best friend or a woman best friend and you're in a relationship with somebody else?
As long as they know each other, and if the relationship was established before y'all became a joint entity, I don't think it should be a problem.
Right.
Because they would know each other and be accommodated, they'd be familiar with each other, and respect that's
right.
Your best friend.
And to do something right off the bat to your other person.
Key. That is key.
Right.
Don't just come out the woodworks 2 months later and say, oh yeah, this is my best friend. Well, where they been all this time?
Right.
I'm just saying, if you're courting a person or in pursuit of someone, you know their circle. You know their circle of friends. You either know them by picture or you know it by conversation. Right. But a person does not keep their best friend hidden, right? Best friends travel together. We posting up together. We on in and out of each other's social platforms together. You just come out the closet and say you his best friend. Excuse me, where did you come from? Excuse me. Professionally, excuse me. But where she come from? No, she ain't your best friend.
Right. I'm your best friend.
So for those that do have the opposite sex best friends, please do introduce your significant other to your best friend in the beginning. If you have been contemplating something's fishy, I'm just saying, right? If you contemplating the best friend, something ain't right. Of course, we know we do have some best friends that were our past friends that they've been crossed over into a best friend because we knew each other that much. We had a love-hate relationship. But it should never be a point where you can't introduce your best friend to your significant other if it's authentic. Now, if y'all still laying up, we got some issues.
Then they're not your best friend. They're your homie lover friend.
They're your homie lover friend. Ain't nobody got on the low. Ain't nobody got no homie lover friends. But today people have open relationships. How do y'all feel about open relationships?
Not having it.
Now, see, I'm greedy.
Me.
I'm just saying.
I'm selfish.
I want heat to myself. I don't want to not be able to call, blocked from your phone because I can't get through because you're with her, scheduling a trip and you can't come because you got to do PTA and this day. And I'm just saying, I don't do open relationships. I think it's a trick of the enemy. Well, I know it's a trick of the enemy. It's a spirit of greed. It's a spirit of falsehood. Hey, that's my preference. I want heat to myself. I really do. And if he comes in that relationship in the forefront, right? I'm in an open relationship. Do you want to be a part of my team? That's him or her being honest. Mm-hmm. Now you have the right to convey whether you want to be on that team or not.
That's right.
Ain't that right, Kim?
How you feel about it, Sean?
Ain't nobody sharing my.
Okay, let the people hear you. What are you saying?
No, we ain't doing that.
Okay, so open relationship. So we are open relationship.
If you're gonna do that, you might as well be
single.
Just be single. Just be single. Just period. Don't even worry about. I mean, what is the point, though?
I mean, but it's deep. Open relationships are deep. I know a lot of women and men that are in open relationships.
It is
You know what I'm
out
saying?
there.
What are they
It is
saying,
out
Kim?
there.
What are they saying within your workplace and your environments about these open relationships?
Well, from what I know, it's a financial obligation. I've heard of people say, well, we're together because, you know, we bought this house. We have our children. We're not going to depart this. We're going to keep this together. We still have some type of love for each other, but however,
But is that an open relationship?
we still going
What
to
you're
date
talking about.
outside
That don't
of
sound like an
us.
open
No.
relationship. What you're
That
So
sounds
that's an open
That-
relationship.
that
sounds like I'm
Open
somebody's
relationship
married.
is when they live in the same
Well, wait a minute,
house.
give everybody a
Yeah,
chance to
that's what I'm
talk.
saying.
So
they
we
have
the
they,
people, the
they
viewers
share
can
the
hear.
same financial bond, and they still see each other's, but they also see other people. And
So
they,
they're not being satisfied sexually. Is that what you're saying?
well, either sexually or they're tied and committed with a financial hoof over their head,
Ooh, that's a good
where they
one.
can't depart, and they don't want to leave each other either, because they still have some kind of connection of love from each other. But at the
They
same
just
time,
feel,
they also
For
agree
security
that
and just do what
they could go out and see another female, or she can go out and see another male, and you know, they even may sleep in different rooms at times within the home, but they're still there with the sake of the kids. However, the certain things about each other they just don't like anymore, and they just can't break apart because of the financial responsibility.
So they're there for the security of, and they just go ahead about their way.
Right. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay, well,
Now,
the
is
ones
that
that
actually
I,
an open relationship?
no, it's
though?
not.
That is
an
no
relationship.
No, the
No,
ones
that's
that I've seen. Okay, like for instance, we shared something the other day. Me and another person. It was an open relationship. That is not how they were explaining it. They loved each other. They wanted to be with each other all the time. But sometimes he can't satisfy her, so she gonna go get it from somewhere else. But he know that, and she know that she can't satisfy him. It had nothing to do with finances. It was just how they felt. They felt like it was a perfect way to keep themselves together, and you know, it was a high for them. Like, you know, they enjoyed going out, being with other people, and coming home and you know, talking about it and stuff like that. They had no problems with it.
Yeah.
They still was in it. They still want to have kids together. They still want to be in a relationship. They want sleeping in the other rooms. It was just
Because when it's an open relationship, that means that they both agree
Yeah.
that each other is
Right.
going to see who
they
they
ain't
are.
worried about cheat. Yo,
The only thing I'm saying is they're not leaving each other. They're not breaking up or anything.
Well, that's not
That-
what
no,
open
they're not
relationship
together
is.
because of a financial burden. They in
That's
the
other people.
That's their excuse of not.
Let her explain.
That's the
Everybody
financial
got
burden
their-
part. Is like when I had asked them, why don't y'all just separate? And they was like, kind of, they still love each other, and they have a financial obligation.
That's.
So that wasn't a
I don't feel like that's an
option.
open relationship.
But
They
they
just
can
stuck
go
together.
and
That's your opinion.
they can go.
You're entitled to your opinion.
It's just a different little block. It's the same
Yeah.
thing, but it's a different little.
So they
little block.
agree.
They agree.
Each of them agree that they can go sleep with this person and
Yes.
that person.
And they still sleep with each other.
So what does the financial part have to do with
That was just when I asked, why don't y'all just separate?
That was their
And
excuse.
That was their excuse.
Their
to
alibi
me.
for staying together and just
Keep an open relationship.
yeah. That was when people have financial obligations. I see it all the time in higher education. People wait for their students to graduate for them to divorce. But within why that child, especially if there's children involved, they do what they have to do to keep each other satisfied and keep the home in place. So, like Kim was saying, within that family, they still have some type of stronghold with one another, but because of the financial obligation with what we all have bills, they don't want to separate physically because they're still in love to a certain extent. And they choose and they know about one another. They're probably not coming home talking about it like the people you're speaking of, but they're aware that it's somebody else giving that attention to them that the other party's not doing due to the division within their union. Right? So there's an open relationship. Do you have to be married to have an open relationship?
I think so. It's open.
It's open. Right. Because we hear a lot of married people, especially older people.
That's why I'm saying it's more. When I say open relationship, it's more defined as a married couple, not a girlfriend boyfriend. Because I done seen it on too many talk shows. It's all married people. I've never seen a girlfriend boyfriend from my point of view.
Yeah, this is a
talk about
married.
When I say open relationship, I wouldn't even consider boyfriend girlfriend because that's irrelevant to me. Because you go do what you want to do. Because you're not even.
Technically, yes, but if you're in a relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, fiance,
But you're free to walk away from that anytime you want.
right?
to.
But you have to agree that I'm going to see Sarah tonight and I'm going to see Henry tomorrow.
Right.
You have to agree to that. So
Right.
people in relationships, married and unmarried, are still in open relationships because we are agreeing to go see other people, whether we come home and talk about our experience or not. It's still being done. It's epic today. More and more people. You got people just as bold that they asking you, do you want to be? They inviting you into that clique today.
You're right.
You know, and they can have that. But some people get into it because you don't have the cheaters title. We all doing it. They all doing it.
So what about what is the other word where the people doing oh Lord, who?
Swingers.
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 That was known in Tennessee. Yeah.
And it's in Myrtle Beach, very heavy.
Yes.
It's very, very
They
heavy.
shut down a club in Myrtle Beach because of them swinging
It's
in.
very heavy.
So for those that not sure, swingers is when couples get together and they come together within a setting and they have sex with one another. So there are clubs. People are starting to do it in their homes. They have individuals that are now marketing that move on the low and charging people to have a house party, but then it turns into a swing party. You just got to know what you're getting yourself into, because I know it's sin. At the end of the day, it's sin. It'll take you longer than you intended to stay in it, and it'll take you further than you want to go. Beware. What you got to say, sis?
Listen.
What about when you have a significant other that is not the biological parent but disciplines the child? How do you, as the biological parent, feel when that other person is disciplining your baby?
Right.
That touchy or what?
It's very touchy because you can't. First of all, because that's your mate, it don't mean that they are parents.
That part.
And second of all, you got to have an understanding.
Yes.
From the beginning.
From the beginning.
Right.
By all means, I don't tolerate any corporate punishment. But I think that the understanding should be, we agree on what's the best for the child, what's safety for the child. If I say no, you say no too, because your child gonna come to you and say, "Mama, can I go such and such?" And you're gonna say, "Yeah," and then the child go to if the mom leave or gone, and she asks the guardian,
Right.
well, mama said I could go, and the person says, not your father, but your guardian.
Your guardian, right.
No, you can't go there.
Right.
So now there's going to be an issue because I'm calling mama because mama said I can go, and you the bad person, you telling me no.
Right. Yeah.
But it needs to be an understanding where, okay, if mama said, yeah, you could go, and I said, no, you can't go, we need to find out what's going on. If you're still there together and there's a situation, we need to both say no and no.
Right.
Or
No,
yes
no.
and yes. And I think that also helped the relationship, to set boundaries.
And you have children within the household. They play the guardian against the biological parent. However, if you went originally to your biological parent, whether it was the father or the mother, let their yes be yes and their no be no, and that will just kill all the division and the unnecessary conflict. However, if the guardian, which is I won't say outside parent, which is the non-biological parent, if they're saying yes, but you know in your heart your mom or dad would say no, now it's a little bit tricky, little devil advocates going on. And that's going to just bring a while of hell in the household. But if the parent, like you said, there has to be upfront conversation. We already know if we're in the house and we're parenting together, the non-biological parent already know the views of the parent. Now let's talk about this, because I know this was something that I had experienced, where raising males in the household, and they get in teenage years and they're ready to date. You as a mom already know when you expect your children to start dating. Now, the non-biological parent don't see the views you do, because maybe you're a little deeper when it comes to soul ties, when it comes to commitment, when it comes to what comes with relationships as an adolescent today. Today is totally different from the 80s, right? Today, when they get connected, they acting like they wifing and husband each other up. No. That's too much, right?
Right.
So if the guardian is on one accord with the parent, it shouldn't be it shouldn't be no conflict, right? If you're on one accord, that's why the Bible says be equally yoked, and then you won't be pulling against one another. But like a small voice that you guys just heard, if the mama, which is the biological parent in the household, normally that's what it is, says no, then it's no.